from the European Union here in Brazil as leader of the cooperation efforts in Brazil. We also have Mr. Noriyuki Ishikawa from JICA, Japan. Also a strategic partner for the IDB PPP team. We've been working with Japan Quality Infrastructure Initiative for more than 10 years now, and it's been a pleasure to interact and join efforts to support the development of quality infrastructure in the region. We are also joining by Joongyul from Kexin, Korea, also a strategic partner of the IDB, but also in particular for the PPP team with the development of PPPs. And last but not least, José María Blanco-Ruiz from ICEX, the Instituto de Crédito para la Exportación de España. And
Export Bank from Spain.
And I would like to thank you all for participating in this panel. As I was mentioning, the role of strategic partners and donors in the region is key to develop infrastructure. We have been hearing through the day, yesterday and today in the morning, the big part of good projects, bankable projects that need to be prepared at the level of quality and bankability that allow them to be able to attract private investment in those projects. So we wanted to share in this panel what is the view and what are the priorities of the different donors for the region. And I would like to start here with Pilar. Could you share with us what are the main lines and priorities for the European Union to support Latin America?
Thank you so much, Gastón. It's a real pleasure to be here with you all and in this important event, the Americas, PPP Americas 2021. Let me first to start saying something. We at the EU, we really like to be considered a development partner rather than a donor. We really believe in working in partnerships with other development partners and with partner countries. I think this is very important. It's a different way of collaborating with our partners in development, but also with our own partner countries with which we are really working every day. We are supporting this event also through the Development in Transition facility. This is a regional facility that multi-dimensional dialogue between Europe and Latin America and the Caribbean to promote sustainable development in the region while countries transition to higher levels of income. The concept of development in transition is particularly significant in the region where most countries are reaching high income levels but continue to face structural challenges. The EU facility is supporting several specific initiatives through grants to multiple partner institutions. One of them is the IDB. As you know, we are very, very happy to be supporting two projects in Brazil specifically. One is the Intercidades train project, which is a railway connection project around 100 kilometers connecting the cities of Sao Paulo and Campinas. And the other one is a contribution to the federal road network in the state of Santa Catarina. I think these are very important examples of our contribution to PPPs, specifically in Brazil. But these are not the only one, because the Development in Transition facility is not really a facility only for investment promotion and PPPs. For that, instead, action that we are currently focusing very much on blending operations. I mean, I think most of the participants to this session knows blending is putting together different instruments like grants and loans and to be used in order to create leverage in each of the operations. We have seen that blended operations in Latin America and Caribbean region have proven to be very useful and transformative tool in the past years. Indeed, one of the main strategic objectives of the Latin American Investment Facility is directly linked to improving the quality of infrastructure in Latin American countries, including energy efficiency, renewable energy systems, sustainable transport and communication networks. For example, between 2010 and 2020, what is called the Latin American Investment Facility, LAIF, has supported 54 strategic projects, mobilizing over 14 billion euros in Latin America. In the case of the Caribbean Investment Facility, the so-called CIF, since 2013, has financed 20 projects in the Caribbean region, leveraging a total investment of 2 billion euros. These facilities have supported projects, among others, in the areas of transport, water supply and sanitation, sustainable energy, urban development, and waste management. I think these are really areas where most development partners are very much interested upon, and these are big challenges also in the region. For example, let me also mention that exactly 2 weeks ago, I'm very happy to say that we had the official launching of a life-supported project here in the state of Sierra. It's called Basic Sanitation Program for Rural Communities in the state of Sierra. It's for adaptation to climate change. And we had the pleasure of having the presence of the state of Sierra's governor in the launching, the EU ambassador in Brazil, the German embassy in Brazil, and KfW. And the project is really aligned with the new Brazilian regulation that has been discussed upon in this event yesterday, indeed. So this is about what we have, but what is about the future? I think this is the most important aspect, is the challenge we are facing, after all this COVID pandemic, that we really had to change our way of working and even living, I might say. So as it was mentioned yesterday by our deputy head of EU mission in Brazil, the Global Gateway Initiative was launched last week, and it is considered the new European strategy to boost smart, clean, and secure links in digital, energy, and transport, and strengthen health, education, and research system across the world. So it's quite comprehensive, I must say. It aims at mobilizing up to 300 billion in investments between 2021 and 2027 to underpin a lasting global recovery, which is what we all are aiming at. This initiative will bring together financial and development institutions from the EU and the EU member states, what we also call the Team Europe initiatives. The private sector will have a fundamental role, Gastón, on this, namely in the context of PPPs, to invest and implement infrastructure with a transformative impact. This is what we have been discussing since yesterday. We need to do things better in response to the population, to the society that are claiming upon all of us to deliver cheaper and better. This is a big challenge, isn't it? The Global Gateway draws on the new financial tools that we have at the EU Multi-Annual Financial Framework. And let me mention the European Fund for Sustainable Development Plus, what is called the EFSD Plus, which will make available around 780 million in grants and guarantees. And this is the novelty here in Latin America. Guarantees has not been available from our instrument up to now, full Latin American region, just for other reasons, but it is really the first time. And intend to leverage more than 12 billion euros in planned investment volumes from European international financial institutions in Latin America and Caribbean. I think this is a way of where we can really work together and we can really make this leverage and to achieve the recovery we're aiming at. This fund embodies the Commission's new approach to international partnerships and policy first. That includes strengthening engagement with the private sector, which is crucial for us. There are seven, indeed, investment windows within the fund. Namely, we're talking about sustainable energy and water, MSMEs, financing for inclusive growth, sustainable agriculture. We have biodiversity and forests, which is very much a focus also, in Amazonian countries. Sustainable and inclusive cities, of course, and digital for development, human development, and sustainable finance. Let me also say, Gastón, that this fund is still under construction, but we are working very hard, mostly our teams in headquarters, in order to make it operational as from 2022, next year. So I think I will stop here, and I will let the other panelists to introduce.
Thank you very much for such a comprehensive description on all the priorities and opportunities. As you mentioned, I think there are several areas of partnership with the European Union and our region. A very highly urbanized region, and the need of mobilizing private capital, of course, guarantees are called to play a key role in new PPPs and mitigating risks and expanding investment in infrastructure. So thank you very much, and I think here we have a truly strategic partner. Thank you. Mr. Ishikawa, I would like to move with you. Thank you for making the time today to be with us. Japan has been a strategic partner as well, and a very active actor in the PPPs and infrastructure realm in Latin America and the Caribbean. I would like to ask you, how are you seeing the region? What are the priorities of JICA and the Japan government for the region, and how do you see the opportunities for the region to work with you?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity today, Mr. Gastón. I am Noriyuki Ishikawa from JBIC, Japan Bank for International Cooperation. Just one question. I'm from JBIC, not JICA. Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
And,
I confused.
No problem. JBIC is a policy-based financial institution, 100% owned the Japanese government, and JBIC provides a policy-based finance with a mission of contributing to the sound development of the Japan and the international economy and society. JBIC has a long experience and lots of track record as a bank here in Latin American region since 1950s. And our total accumulated commitment amount in this region is around 980 billion US dollars. And today's our loan outstanding amount is around 165 billion US dollars. Our main focusing sector is infrastructure and natural resources development. Regarding the question, I would like to explain what is quality infrastructure investment, which was proposed and initiated by the Japanese government. It is essential to promote a quality infrastructure, focusing not only on quantity, but also on quality to realize the quality growth, because the huge demand for infrastructure investment is expected for the development of the global economy. The G20 principles for quality infrastructure investment was proposed at G20 Osaka Summit in 2019. And there are mainly 4 priorities, which are openness and transparency and economic efficiency in view of life cycle cost and debt sustainability, among other principles. So now I would like to explain details about the G20 principles for quality infrastructure investment. There are 6 points. The first one is to maximize the positive impact of infrastructure to achieve sustainable growth and development. Infrastructure investment with job creation and technology transfer will promote a good circle of economic activities through capacity building, productivity improvement, and private investment facilitation. Principle 2 is to raise economic efficiency in view of life cycle cost. Quality infrastructure investment should have a concept of value for money. So it is important to take into account the total cost of construction of infrastructure, including its operation and maintenance. Principle 3 is to integrate environmental considerations in infrastructure investment. The impacts on factors such as ecosystems, biodiversity, and climate should be considered. Principle 4 is to build a resilience against natural disasters and other risks. Natural disaster risk management and human risk management should be considered when designing infrastructure. Principle 5 is to integrate a social considerations in infrastructure investment. Infrastructure should be inclusive, enabling economic participation and social inclusion of all. Lastly, the principle 6 is to strengthen infrastructure governance. The openness and the transparency of procurement, anti-corruption efforts, and access to information data are also important. So there are the summary of G20 principles for QII. And now I also would like to touch upon very quickly about the new initiative called Blue Dot Network. In 2020, JBIC, US government and Australian government has established the concept of Blue Dot Network in order to enhance G20 principles for quality infrastructure investment. The Blue Dot Network is a mechanism to certify an instrument project that meet a boost international quality standard. Japan, US, and Australia launched this concept as a multilateral effort to promote principles of sustainable infrastructure development around the world. Blue Dot Network certification will serve as a globally recognized symbol of market-driven, transparent, Paris Agreement aligned, and financially, socially, environmentally sustainable infrastructure projects. Finally, in relation to PPP, it is very important that host countries, private companies, multilateral development banks like IDB, governmental financial institutions like JBIC need to work together by performing each expected roles in the PPP project. And these kind of good coordination will mobilize private capital, private funds to realize the project that meet both quality and quantity. So the leadership of the host country is also extremely important. PPP needs to be a public-private partnership and should not be a private-private partnership, which leaves its initiative only to the private sector. I believe that only in the case that each party fulfills each role and duty, the project turns to be a real PPP, properly prepared project. In these days, response to the climate change is our global agenda, and it is also important to take this agenda into account for implementing PPPs. JBIC has announced ESG policy just before COP26, and we are committed to pursuing efforts to achieve net zero emissions in our finance portfolio by 2050. In Latin American countries, JBIC has a close relationship with IDB, CAF, BCIE, Banco Mexico, Banobras, BNDES, Banco do Brasil, among other friends, mainly to support green projects and infrastructure projects. JBIC wants to enhance green finance in addition to the traditional operations to respond to climate change. With this regard, for example, last year, JBIC has also committed to make an investment to hydrogen station network project in US. So we would like to contribute the sustainable development of Latin American countries. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such a comprehensive presentation, Ishikawa-san, and excuse me again for confusing JICA with JBIC. I think it's very interesting and very aligned both with the European Union and with the IDB priorities in the sense of the need of have very, very well-prepared projects that respond to the level of quality that needs to have the projects to be able to attract private financiers. This is going to be a new reality. Already we have several principles, but the Quality Infrastructure Initiative and the Blue Dot and other initiatives for transparency and fairness and diversity will be, I think, key to attract the level of investment our region needs to mobilize capital. I would like to move to Joongyul from Korea Kixin. Thank you very much for having us, for being here with us. Korea has a very vast experience on PPPs in Korea, but also has created an ecosystem of agencies to support the development of PPPs abroad, with KEXIM being one of them, but also KIND and KDI. Also a strategic partner of the IDB and with a lot of priority in the region. We would like to hear from you. How do you see your priorities and what are the instruments you have to support the development of PPPs in the region?
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, let me give you an overview of the KEXIM's financing program for the infrastructure project, KEXIM has three financial tools, such as direct loans, guarantees, and equity investment. Notably, in recent years, KEXIM has been being involved in more and more a PPP-based project in which Korean companies participate as sponsors as well as EPC contractors. Meanwhile, KEXIM has another financing program and source, which is an Economic Development Cooperation Fund. This is a Korean official development aid program, and KEXIM is entrusted with EDCF operation by Korean government. EDCF financing terms are more favorable than those of KEXIM loan and guarantee. Now let me present the KEXIM's priorities and strategies for developing PPPs in the Latin America and Caribbean region. KEXIM regards LAC region as the third largest market for Korea after Middle East and Southeast Asia. The PPP project in the region will continue to increase more and more in the future, given that the demand for infrastructure tends to increase along with the economic development, and LAC region's government's desire to meet the increasing infrastructure demand by utilizing PPP arrangement. Currently, KEXIM is focusing on Chile, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, and Colombia, which are comparatively well equipped with a PPP-related law and regulations. And in terms of sector, we are paying attention to ICT, power plant, transport, and water resources development, which are in high demand in Latin America and Caribbean region, and Korean companies are thought to have competitiveness in. KEXIM also takes note of the increasing global ESG awareness and the far-reaching social benefits induced by infrastructure project when it comes to financing priority. Naturally, this rule also applies to the project in the Latin America and Caribbean region. As a concrete ways to strengthen its presence in PPP market in the region, KEXIM is thinking of the following measures. First, KEXIM pursues more cooperation with MDBs based in LAC region, such as IDB, GAF, and GAVE. I think that those MDBs have a good working knowledge about the PPP environment in the region and have high-level communication channels with each of the countries in the region. On the other hand, KEXIM has a long-time solid relationship with the Korean companies, which are competent and experienced and want to expand their businesses in the region. Secondly, KEXIM continues to introduce new financial schemes in order to meet specific needs of a specific project. For example, KEXIM provided the receivables financing for Panama Metro project for the first time in its financing history this year. KEXIM is also going to utilize EDCF, a Korean ODA program. Lastly, KEXIM continues to help promote a strategic partnership with Korean companies and local and Spanish companies, which have strong presence in the Latin American Caribbean regions, PPP market. I believe that Korean companies hold advanced technology and efficient if its implementation capabilities in comparison. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Joongyul. I would like now to go to Juan María Blasco Ruiz from ICEX. Juan María, thank you very much for being with us and waiting to talk. As I mentioned before, in line with our strategic partners, Spain has been a very active partner with the IDB, but also Spanish companies are key players in the infrastructure sector, both construction companies, operators, and the financing companies. We would like to hear from you what's the view from ICEX of the region, what are the instruments to support infrastructure PPPs in Latin America.
Thank you very much, Gastón. On behalf of the government of Spain, I would like to thank for the opportunity to participate today in this interesting conversation about such a key topic for the present and the future of so close countries for Spain as the Latin American and Caribbean countries and also the IDB group. But first of all, I will talk about financing later on, but I would like to explain about the entity I will be ICEX, Spanish Trade and Investment. That is not a financing institution, but I would like to take the opportunity to share about how we are promoting and the infrastructure sector in the world. So thanks to the work of our economic and commercial offices of Spain in all our embassies around the world, particularly in Latin American countries, we identify authorities, foreign counterparts, clients that want to share with Spanish companies about new infrastructure projects in different areas in the world. And Latin America is one of the priorities for us. We organize informative sessions for foreign and Spanish counterparts with detailed information about the projects and normally B2B, so B2Gs, to talk about business. At the end of the day, we are facilitators of contacts, facilitators of business between Spanish and foreign companies. We, just for information, in 2019 and 2020, that were quite difficult, challenging years for everybody, we organized hundreds of sessions like these ones, with the involvement of thousands of companies from Spain and from different countries in the world, particularly Latin America, when I'm talking about sessions focused on Latin America. And the sectors are water, in which we are more focused, are water, transportation, energy, ports, airports, but even also data centers, digitalization, smart cities. So we cover all the spectrum of different infrastructure we are talking about today. We also organize from ICEX, we organize also inward missions, not just for commercial purpose to Spain, but also for technical purpose, in the sense that we are happy to share about our expertise and the PPPs successful projects that we have in Spain with any foreign authority, client, counterpart that want to visit our country for getting this information. And now let me talk about financing, because Spain is, we have very clear the commitment of the Spanish authorities with the financing of the infrastructure, not in all the world, but also particularly in Latin America. And I want just to give the ideas of the different sources of financing from the Spanish authorities for the infrastructure sector in the world. And I would like to start with the financing by the Ministry of Economy of Spain, that has a very strong background of collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank. And they are especially focused on technical assistance funds for the development of infrastructure in the area, and also for financing small-scale projects, why not related to infrastructure also, but especially linked to social, inclusive, green, and digital objectives. So this is the area in which our main donor, the Ministry of Economy, is working with infrastructure in Latin America. Second, we have the financing coming from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that through different new initiatives in the field, they are mainly financing infrastructure all over the world, particularly Latin America, with untied financing. And I think this is the second source of financing that I wanted to share. And finally, the third, the last but not least, is the different financings by the Spanish Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism. Let me start with the direct, apart from the activity of the traditional ECAs that we have in Spain regarding insurance or guarantee, regarding investment and trade abroad, also including infrastructure, we have, it's not new direct lending tool because we have been working with that for the last 10 years already, but it's becoming more and more important. It's a direct lending tool for the financing of equipment supply for turnkey projects and also for PPP, for project finance in the infrastructure sector. Talking about the PPPs, the project finance, we try always to co-finance with different partners. Why not the IDB, for example, or other private companies or banks financing the same infrastructure than Spain. We work with OECD financial conditions, and when we are talking about a PPP, we need to have, of course, a special purpose vehicle created in the country in which the project is going to be developed, and a Spanish company must be involved as a stakeholder in this SPV, in this special purpose vehicle that we're talking about for the finance activity. This kind of financing is a tight financing, so we need to have, in order to launch the financing, Spanish companies working with foreign companies in the particular project we're talking about. But we are also, as the representative of the European Union was talking about before, we also work with blending, okay? We also work with different other sources of financing, like the ones coming from the EU. And in this case, when we are talking about financing by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism, we also work with untied financing. We are talking about blending with other sources of financing, like the one coming from the European Union. And finally, we just recover a new instrument that was out for the last years, but I think it's very important and to share about how we try to finance and how we like to push the infrastructure in the area, particularly in Latin America, because we have again on the table of the Ministry of Industry and Trade in Spain, non-reimbursable financing for studies, for prefactibility and from feasibility studies for future infrastructure. And we are especially focused on the sectors I was sharing before, and in the Latin American countries and the Caribbean countries. So with this not new instrument, but this new again on the table, we try to finance some consultancy operations and engineering operations in which Spanish companies should be involved together with foreign partners, again for non-reimbursable financing for these kind of studies and feasibility studies for infrastructure. So my last message is flexibility and service. So we have different options for financing infrastructure abroad, and the best way to approach the different financing is to talk to the Spanish Economic and Commercial Office in the different countries, or to us directly, so we can re-guide the different counterparts to the financing that is best for the different operations on the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are running out of time. I would like to thank you all for being here with us, in the case of you, Pilar, and you all for connecting. I think the idea is clear for our regional audience. There are several instruments. There are a lot of opportunities to work together with these partners in the region to develop infrastructure and help to bridge the infrastructure gap. Thank you very much.